Simulated all the games just so I can get to the off season. That's what being a Browns fan to do to you. You know, the games don't mean anything because you don't expect to win anything. So you just try to get to the off season so you can see the players that'll get you hype and excited that you're going to be great, and then just not care about the games. And yeah, that's the cycle I live with my entire life. But you know, and also being a sports person and just really loving the game of sports, of basketball, football, all these different sports. The draft, the NBA draft is next week. Well, 10 days away. What's that? Next Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, the 23rd. And you know, we have a big debate going on right now. I just want to ask your opinion because I know I'm going to get killed for my opinion, but I could care less. So, Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, the two top players in the draft this year. I wouldn't say head and shoulders above the rest, but they have a pretty good advantage over the rest of the players coming out this year. Brandon Ingram, LSU. Brandon Ingram, Duke, and Ben Simmons, LSU. Who are you taking number one? I'm not asking as a Sixers person because the Sixers have the number one pick. I'm just asking for your personal opinion. Who are you taking number one, Dani?
Come on, why do I always have to go first with these questions? I don't understand. Go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Daniel, Dani, do me a favor, Dani. Ask me the question. Come on, let me hear it.
No, I defer. This is like football, so I defer to the second half.
No, Dani, ask me the question. Ask me. I don't want to ask myself the question and then answer it. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself.
Okay, who is your number one pick?
Well, that's a great question, Dani.
For this year.
That is a great
You always make me go
question. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I do always make you go first. I'm sorry. But, so this is it, right? Ben Simmons, you hear a lot of people comparing him to LeBron James. That's tomfoolery. It's pure tomfoolery. Listen, Brandon Ingram, he's a very talented kid. He has all the tools. He's a great all-around player. But to compare him to LeBron is just ridiculous. And I'm going to say this. Okay, so Brandon Ingram plays at LSU. The team, you know, prior to him coming, had a couple other players who were considered NBA prospects. You know, NBA first-round prospects. And Brandon Ingram comes along, and he's supposed to be the next LeBron-type player with that potential. And they did worse this year than they did last year. He put up some pretty solid stats, but most of those stats came in games against very, very inferior opponents. So, for him to be compared to LeBron, I just think it's just foolish. I honestly compare him more to Lamar Odom. You know, they played a similar style of basketball. Lamar was a point power forward, really. And, you know, he was able to handle the ball. Great rebounder. Even for a skinny guy, he was always a solid rebounder. And that's what Ben Simmons more reminds me of than LeBron James. And Brandon Ingram, you know, people are comparing him to Kevin Durant. Probably, I mean, it's mostly because of his frame. You know, he's a real skinny guy. He's a silky type player. He's a smooth type player. But I really want to compare him to Kevin Durant either. I don't know. He's a little different to me because he's more aggressive on the defensive end. He's like a hybrid of a Kevin Durant and a Tayshaun Prince. So, for me personally, I'm taking Brandon Ingram number one overall. And this is coming from a Duke hater who believes that all Duke players are hot garbage. Not really, I'm joking. But, I'm joking. But, I mean, Coach K, we all know Coach K coaches these guys up. So, however many years they spend at Duke, they're always much better players than a lot of other programs because Coach K is one of the greatest coaches ever. And he just gets them. He just gets the kids. He helps them out a lot. And me personally, I don't care who's picking number one, what team. Brandon Ingram is my number one guy, Dani.
Yeah, I agree, and I was looking in the same vein as you as far as Coach K's coaching record. Just his ability to develop players, and even some of their lower level players are still better than like an LSU top player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing against LSU. It's nothing against their coach, but their coach is not Coach K.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not to say that LSU won't ever have a number one pick, but I don't think that this is the year for it. I do think that Ingram will go number one, and like you, this is coming from someone that cannot stand Duke. But I respect what Coach K has done and what he's able to do and bring out in players. And, I would take Ingram just, I feel that he is going to be a better, a more developed and more solid player in the league. And I think that's something that you have to look at. How does their college play prepare them for league play?
Mm-hmm.
Again, no disrespect to LSU and what their team has done, but I think you brought up some really, really good points about preparedness and just some of the comparisons. Again, I take those with a grain of salt many times because so many times we're comparing these kids to a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant, and it's like, I don't. And then when they get to the league and they're a complete bust, and look at Greg Oden. Poor kid. Has he played? By the way, has he played in the game?
He played in a few games. He played in a few games. When he played in Miami with his son LeBron, they played a few games together. But I mean, I called it. I called it. I remember writing an article back then, and I basically destroyed Portland because Portland could have had a team of Brandon Roy, Kevin Durant, and Zach Randolph, but instead they chose to trade Zach Randolph and draft Greg Oden. And
right.
Yeah. How'd that work out for Portland?
Womp womp.
Terrible deal.
Womp womp.
And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think I have a pretty good eye for talent, and don't get me wrong, Ben Simmons, he is a very talented player, but I'm not going to give him all the hype that everyone else is giving. I'm just going to look at him for who he is, and he's a player that just really did not make his team much better, and he had a lot of inflated stats, and that's just the end of it. I mean, he doesn't play with that fire, that heart, that burning desire to really go out and attack and kill people. And Brandon Ingram, even though he wasn't even the number one guy at Duke, I mean, Grayson Allen, everyone knows who Grayson Allen is at Duke and his crazy self, but he was the more experienced player at Duke, and he's a very great player as well. But at the same time, the ball was in his hands most of the time, and Grayson shoots when he wants to shoot, and he has the green light to. So Brandon Ingram didn't really have a chance to show his full arsenal and ability because Grayson Allen was also doing his thing. But I just see Brandon Ingram being a better pro in the future. Now, last question. I'm going to ask you first. The Sixers, they have the number one pick.
Here we go again.
Who should they take? I'm going to just ask you, who should they take between these two players? Based on the team that they have now, who do you think they should take? I mean, all the tanking that they supposedly did was to get the number one pick.
I missed part of the question.
Yeah, I was saying, the Sixers right now. Plain and simple, the Sixers. Who should they take number one overall?
I would still take Ingram.
Okay. And with all the rumors,
Yeah. So.
All right, I feel you. I'm with you. I'm taking Ingram number 1 overall. I'm not trading Okafor. I'm not trading Noel because Joel Embiid probably will never play, and he's been healthy the last 2 off seasons to go out and play, and he still hasn't played yet. So, I mean, I'm not getting rid of my big guys and saying that we have too many bigs because Joel Embiid has not played yet. So, therefore, I'm not trusting him yet. Therefore, I'm keeping the team the way it is. I'm drafting Brandon Ingram, and they have picks number 24 and 26. I will try to move up to get another player. I mean, it's a lot of top talent in this draft and a lot of shooters in this draft. So, if they can figure out a way to move up, and one of the guys I really like in this draft is Demetrius Jackson from Notre Dame, the point guard. He's built like a linebacker, and the kid just goes out and he plays hard. And he's the type of point guard that they need. They don't have a all-star caliber point guard. I think he has the potential to be a very good point guard in this league. And I mean, I'm in Philly. We all know this. I want to see them do well. And for me, the best move would be to just go ahead and draft Brandon Ingram. Pray Dario Saric comes over and just rock out with the team they have. And they have other draft choices and just try to channel their inner Spurs and just go for their second-round picks. I think they have about 3 or 4 second-round picks this year. And just go for some top talent. Maybe a couple overseas players like they did with Ginobili, a nobody that no one really knew about. And look, he's going into the Hall of Fame. Right. So, I mean, their scouting department and the overseas, that's what having all those second-round picks to do. And everybody is knocking Hanky for all the trades that he made in the last couple years and all the moves that he made and all the second-round picks that he has. But if you hit on one of those second-round picks, it can change your future. I mean, look at Golden State. They hit on Draymond Green. And look at what he's done for them. Those second-round picks are key.
Yeah. But exactly. And I think that, you find some gems and some diamonds in the rough when you're able to kind of sort through some of those top tier players, and you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everyone, it's a paper game. Like, you're literally looking at how they play and their numbers, and yeah, you scout them, but there's such a difference in college ball and pro ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you just never know what a player is going to do when they get to the league.
Yep, exactly. So that's it for this episode of Spit Game. Be sure to tune in at 10 p.m. for Married to God with my beautiful wife Lynette and myself. And next week we'll be back on Spit Game. And Dani, I think we need to really go hard on the NBA draft and just have a draft preview show. Get some guests to come on with us and talk some NBA draft. How you feel about that?
I love it.
Awesome. So next week, stay tuned for our Spit Game NBA Draft Preview Show. We're going to get you ready for Thursday's draft, and we're going to hit you with all the rumors that's going on, all the trade rumors, and we're going to have some guests on to talk, and we're just going to have a good old time next week. So definitely stay tuned and be on the lookout for next week. And Dani, thank you for another great show. The technical issues were solved. It's the Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's the Wi-Fi. My kids say we don't have Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi. So it's a little instead of having a baseball bat, it's like a wiffle bat. So
right, we have Wi-Fi.
I can't stand kids, y'all. They crazy. I love them, but they crazy. But anyway, y'all, have a great night. I'll be back. Dani's out. Love you, sis.
All right, love you, man. Have a good night.
Good night.
Come on, man.